Hi, I'm Nicole, and this is Nick's Picks. I make a video once a month talking about the books that I picked out to read that month. I love talking about books, and today we're going to talk about the 6 books that I read in July. First, of course, I have to mention that if you like my vibe and would like to read something that I wrote, you can get my book, Heart's Content Road by Nicole Avery on Amazon or Kindle Unlimited. Okay, so these books from July were amazing. I had such a great reading month. I cannot wait to recommend them and tell you all about them. Starting with Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. So I appropriately read that around the 4th of July. Basically, it's a male-male romance, which I love, and it's between Prince Henry of England and Alex, what was his last name? Claremont Diaz, who's the president of the U.S.'s son. And the president is a female, so that was even fun. Everything about this book was insanely amazing. I cannot talk enough about it. One of my favorites. I felt like the character development was so insanely amazing. I loved these characters, not just the main characters, everyone. I felt like the storyline beyond just the romance. This is not even like, there's some spice, but not like at all tons of it, but enough and great. But beyond the romance storyline or even the spice or whatever, the story was just so great. Just the idea of these two men having to figure out how to be together, having to figure out, what their sexuality means as they're in the public eye and all of that kind of stuff. Even just other political issues. There was just so much going on here. And I'm not even a political person. It's not like I enjoy reading political books and all that kind of stuff, but very easy to follow. I loved that aspect of the story. Everything about this was so smart, so funny, and so good. I cannot recommend it enough. I loved it so much. I can't even give you all the feels. The ending was so satisfying. Just the way everything played out was just perfection. I loved it. I loved everything about it. So many things. That being said, it was very hard for me to watch this movie because I absolutely hated the movie. I will say, I understand that things have to be changed when you adapt a book to a movie. Like, that is totally, I get it. It's two different mediums. Different things are necessary and different things entertain you when you're reading as opposed to watching. I get it. However, there was just, and part of it's probably that I'm very late to this party. This is not a new book by any means. This is out. The movie's out. It's all old news. I watched it right afterwards. So I was so super fresh on every detail in this book and finished the book and the next day watched the movie. So I really think that was part of it too. Usually, sometimes you're waiting for a movie to come out and you've read the book a little while ago. So it's you just kind of remember the gist and the movie captures that and it's great. But I was aware of every single change, and some of them were okay, but some of them were just, they left out Alex's sister, June, is such an important character in this book. And I do understand it's him, June, and Nora, who's the vice president's granddaughter. They're all kind of very close friends. So I understand that technically if we're trying to do a concise movie version of this, maybe we don't need both of those female best friend kind of characters. I get it, but I still missed her. After reading this book, I wanted to see June. So I guess that's part of the problem. Even the end, Prince Henry, he has a problem with, the image of having to, he doesn't want to tell the public that he's gay or is not really allowed to. And his grandmother, who's the Queen of England, is super strict and super against all of that. And so the ending scene with her was just very, gratifying and all of that stuff. In the movie, it's the King of England. It was changed. Just little things like that. I'm thinking, why? I was so looking forward to that scene. And that scene in general in the movie just fell flat for me. It was just not as good as what's going on here. This is just so much better in every way. I felt like I was reading this on fast forward. I felt like we were just skipping to, oh, here's this scene, this scene, this scene. So the movie was fun just to see these people come to life, I guess. But you really, and I don't know how I would feel having not read this book and just watching the movie, if I would be missing things just from the storyline alone. Uma Thurman is the president in the movie, which I loved, but it's also a little weird watching her, try to put on this Southern accent for the whole movie. It was just, I don't know. The movie certainly fell flat for me, and I will say though, the casting was actually really good for the two guys. I didn't think that going in. I hate that I even knew who was in this movie because I don't like picturing that before I've read the book. I don't like thinking about the actors. But I thought I wasn't really going to like the casting, but as soon as I saw them and watched them act this out, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like, these two characters just came to life with those actors. They did such a phenomenal job. I will give it that. Aside from that, again, if you've read it, worth the watch, just because, again, it's fun to see like these things come to life, but you'll probably be disappointed with the movie. But read this book. And this is a case where I don't usually do things the other way around. Like, I like to, if it was a book first, I want to appreciate it the way it was intended first. Then I appreciate the adaptation after, if it's a TV show or a movie. I will say in this case, if you've watched this movie but haven't read the book, I don't think it's going to be redundant. I really do feel like you will get so much more out of this book, and it will still be very entertaining, stuff that you maybe won't even expect to happen. I don't know, because they did leave out quite a bit in the film. So I would even suggest, if you've watched the movie, to still go ahead and read the book. This is amazing. Again, very late to the party on it, but I'm here now and I'm having fun, and this gave me all the feels. So impressed by everything about this book. 5 million stars. Next, we have a big book talk book, Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This is a Reese's Book Club pick also. This was also great. Didn't disappoint. A lot of people, this is the basic idea, is there's this family, a father and his kids, that are on this remote island in charge of like watching a seed bank. Seed meaning like plant seeds. For kind of like, you know, if we ever have some kind of disaster and we have to regrow all our plant life, we need these seeds. I don't know. So that's the basic gist of it. And then this woman washes up on the shore, and there's like a mystery involved. There's a little bit of everything. Like, you don't really necessarily know where it's going at all times. Very interesting, a unique concept. Again, very smart. I was so impressed with the writing. I really liked this book. One little thing is I was a little disappointed with the ending. I understand the ending 100%. It was so symbolic and powerful. But I do feel there would have been merit if it went a different way as well. I don't want to say too much without spoiling it, but that would be my little hang up. But other than that, and even just in terms of like the mystery element, the thriller aspect, it really kept me wanting to read the book. I kept wanting to pick it up. And there were some things that I wasn't expecting or didn't figure out until it was like really timed to. It wasn't like I knew exactly where this was going from the beginning, because I hate when that happens, because that's just not as fun. I want something to surprise me. I was pleasantly surprised by little reveals here and there, and the pace of the book was good. Again, so symbolic, so deep. Like, it wasn't just a, you know, surface romance or thriller or mystery. It was just like a good piece of writing, and I really enjoyed the book. Just the ending for me is what kind of, you know, I wish it would have ended a little bit differently. But again, I understand the ending, and it's a great book. So this was a good read too. Then we have The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. So, let me start by saying I read The Deal, this is a series. It's the off-campus series. So I read The Deal, which was book 1. I thought I read it last year, but I went back and looked at like my reading log from last year and my videos from last year, and it's not in there. So it must have been even further back than that I read this. But I read it. I remember really liking the book. I wanted to rewatch my video actually to see exactly what I said about it, but I don't have one. So I do remember really, really liking this book, but I didn't continue with the series for whatever reason. I mean, sometimes for me, there's so many books I want to read that even if I'm enjoying something, I just don't want to like commit to a whole series, or I won't read them back to back because I want to maybe take a break and do something else in between. But I do remember really liking The Deal, which was the first book. And then this year, the show came out, the TV show, the off-campus show. And I didn't watch it right away, but one of my cousins, who doesn't even like to read, texted me. She's like, "Nick, you watching this show? It's amazing." And I've never read books so fast. I went back and got all the books. She read through them right away. I was like, "Oh, I remember I loved that book. Let me give it a shot." I watched the show, loved it. Now, unlike Red, White, and Royal Blue, we've got a situation where I read this a significant amount of time ago. So I really just remember the main situation, who the main characters were, basically what happened. And I thoroughly enjoyed that show. I mean, that is an amazing show. And it led me to say, let me finish the series because I do want to keep going with the show. And like I mentioned before, I like to read before I go. The first season was really, it was like the deal. It was based on this. They did tease a little bit of stuff upcoming. Like there was stuff that I hadn't known yet that they did in the show. So I know there was more from the other books. But basically the first season is this book. So I said, before, the next seasons come out and all of that, let me go ahead and finish the series. So I pick up this book. And as I'm reading this, it's reminding me of some stuff in this that maybe was not like the show. And again, not a huge deal. Like, for example, Logan, this book is about Hannah and Garrett. This is their romance. And I will say, just because I never talked about this book before, I can't really give this a decent conversation right now because I'm removed from it. But meaning I read it too long ago. But I do remember really loving it. And again, because it went even beyond, the spice was insane. Loved it. But even beyond that, I loved the story. And I loved how there were different like facets to the story and so many different things that were happening with these characters. And I loved every little tidbit of everything in this book. I do remember liking all of that, loving how it played out at the end. I remember liking all of that. So when I read this book, little things like this one's now, Garrett lives, he's a hockey player, and they basically make a deal. She's really good in, what is it? It's a philosophy, I think, the class. And he's good at, he was going to help be her fake boyfriend. They had this deal that he would pretend to be her boyfriend to make this guy she likes, take a look at her. And in return, she would help him with this course that he's having trouble with, so that he could keep playing hockey and all of that. So that's the basic premise of this book. And then he lives in a house with 3 other guys. So the other books in the series are about those other guys. So now this book 2 is about Logan and Grace. So it's their romance. So as I'm reading this, I remember now Logan has a brother, and it's his father that's kind of like an issue. And in the show, it's a little bit different. So I'm seeing that there's some changes, and it's making me want to maybe even just on Audible go back and do a reread of this. I never really do Audible because I feel like I much prefer reading the book. But in a case like this where I've read the book and I need a refresher, and it might be fun to just hear it read, and experience it that way, maybe I'll do that just to get a refresher on exactly what happened here. But for now, I'm just going to continue on. And so now I read The Mistake this in July. I will say I did like this book better, but this was great too. I feel like romance series go like 2 different ways. Like, well, first of all, the fact that it's not about the same characters. Like there are series like Rebel Blue Ranch or the Rose Hill series where we have each book kind of really ending completely that couple's story, and then the next book, they'll still be in it here and there for fun, but we're moving on to a completely different story with other supporting characters from the other book. That's what this is. There's another series that Elle Kennedy co-wrote with Serena Bowen, and the first book is Him, and I talk about this all the time. It's a male hockey romance, like probably my favorite romance to this point, and I love that book so much. That in their sequels and stuff is about the same couple. So it's, interesting that we're seeing them, so I feel like that factors in terms of like, keeping your interest and what's different. This is, even though it's part of a series, it's a brand new story. So for this, I really, really liked it. The spice was great. Everything was great. The only thing I will say is in this book, I really loved the story and all of that. I felt like the story was just lacking a little bit here. And I don't even want to say lacking. It was great. I liked it. I'm not even like, who am I to judge anything here? But I really enjoyed it. But like, for example, in a romance, we have an issue, we get together, and then there's like another issue that we have to do before the big ending. That second problem to me was just not high stakes enough. Probably shouldn't have even been a fight, should have just been a discussion, and it certainly didn't require the gesture at the end and all of that, even though I loved that gesture. Like everything worked out beautifully, and I loved, it was fun, but I just felt like it wasn't like, high stakes to me as like some of the stuff in here. So that's the only thing I would say. But aside from that, please, this was an excellent book. I love this author. I love everything about it. And coming up, I do have even the third book that I'm going to talk about, but this was a good one. The actor, that's the problem with watching things first, is not like he's described. So I'm already like disappointed with that, because I want to picture him this way. But yeah, the book itself, the spice was good. Again, it was fun to see Hannah and Garrett again from this book. And I really liked it, and I kept going. Coming up, there's another book here. But before I read that, I read The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sarah Rash. Now, let me tell you, I don't know if anybody saw my TikTok video. I picked this up in the bookstore. This is the second book in the series. It's a magic and romance novel, okay? So there's more than one book here. And this was on a table in Barnes & Noble, and I picked it up, had never heard of it before, read a little bit of it, and loved it. Was like, couldn't wait to jump in. Was disappointed to realize it's part of a series. So I went and found this book, and again, was almost a little disappointed that I couldn't jump into this right away, because I will never read out of order. So I wanted to read both. This sounded pretty good too. So I'm like, let me do this first. Boy, am I glad I did. This was so amazing. I cannot even explain how much I love this book. This is about Sebastian and Theo, and this is a kind of fantasy world. So there's magic in this world. Theo is part, I forget what, elf. He's like part elf. So he's a bit supernatural. Sebastian's not, but he does magic. And it's a male-male romance between them. They have to work on this. They both apply for this grant, and they end up kind of both getting it. They have to work together. And they're even from two different like sects of like magic, like the two different departments that don't always get along. So they have to figure out a way how to make their magic work together, for them to work together. It's an enemies to lovers. This book was so good. And again, I'm going to say the spice was great, but beyond that, the story was excellent. There's so much backstory here, like for both of them, and you're alluding to it. So there's almost like a little mystery going on, finding out what happened. There was a payoff with that. It was funny. The relationship dynamics, were well executed. Everything about this was just perfect. I loved the characters. I loved the story. And I loved this character that the next book is based on. So I'm so glad I know him now before I go in and read this book now, which I'm very excited to do. So amazing. I hadn't heard of it before. If you haven't, you need to get it on your radar. This is an excellent book. I saw this on the table at 2 different Barnes & Nobles. So I don't know why they're just putting the second book out there. But if you see it, pick them both up. Don't just go for this. Pick them both up. They are so good. I can't wait to read this and other books by her, because I loved it so much. And just to go back to the off-campus series a second, I just have to make a comment. I love the numbers on these books, and the fact that there's a stamp on the front that says off-campus series book 1, book 2. 1, 2. It just makes it so easy when you're in the bookstore to figure that out, instead of having to Google it and everything else. Like when I saw this, I finally noticed a magic and romance novel. Oh, that must be a series. And then I had to like Google it and figure out what was what. So I really do appreciate, the numbers on these books. I just want to say that. All right. So the next book I read it on my Kindle. So I'll show you a picture of it on my iPad. Oh, wait. Different passwords for everything. All right. So this book I really was in the mood to kind of take a break from the romance and go to a thriller. So we have That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. Okay. This, when you Google what's going to take you by surprise, what's really going to keep your interest in a thriller, this is always coming up. I see this on Book Talk constantly. This was great. I will say this was great. Once again, I was just not thrilled with the ending, but I couldn't put it down. I read it so quickly, just a day or two. And it was just, again, beyond the mystery. This wasn't just like a surface. I just felt like the characters were so great. It was funny. I laughed out loud in this book a couple of times. And I just felt like the characters were funny. There was more going on. A lot of stuff we had to figure out. We get different points of view here. A girl basically goes a girl is found on the side of the road, and she is all like beaten up and bruised, and they don't know what happened, and she lost her memory. And some guy comes to the police station claiming to be her father. He's got all the paperwork and her birth certificate and everything, and but she doesn't remember. So as they go back to this cabin and start living together, we're getting the impression maybe something more is going on here. At the same time, we have the girl's point of view, and then at the same time, we have the a boy's point of view. He is his girlfriend went missing, and he's kind of being accused of it, and everybody in the town thinks he did it. So he's trying to find her. He misses her, and he's trying to find her, and so we have those two different things going on. And again, very fast paced, definitely keeps your interest. Perfect quick thriller if that's what you're looking for. I wish, again, I understand the ending. It was great. I just wish it worked out slightly different. But other than that, I definitely would recommend this book as like a fun, quick read. And then lastly, I read book 3 in the off-campus series, The Score. So this is about Dean. And Dean is like the hottest one of these guys. You could tell that both from the books and also from the show, but from the books too. Like, he's just that guy, he's got that swagger, and I was really excited for his storyline. This is about Dean and Allie, and I actually really liked this book too. And I will say I liked the story in this one as well. Like, there was some stuff I wasn't expecting at the end, pretty high stakes, and something I didn't expect to happen. And I really thought this was good. So he's like, a player. He doesn't really settle down, and Allie's more into relationships. So they're just going to kind of, hook up at first, and she just broke up with her boyfriend. So this is just kind of like a casual thing. And then of course it becomes more. I don't think I told you about Logan's story. In Logan's story, he kind of like makes a mistake, if you can't tell. He makes a mistake with this girl, Grace. He, again, different than the show. He's kind of like, almost like a Dean level player to me in this book. Like, he's, and then Grace is a virgin, and they're almost going to sleep together, and something happens and whatever. So then he's got to like correct that, and then there's that like whole relationship dynamic with them. So these were good. These are the first 3 in the series. There are 5 books. I have the next one. I just haven't read it yet. And that's where I'm at right now. But really, I loved everything this month. Like, this was a great reading month, July. And I guess because it's summer as part of it, I have a lot of time to just keep reading. And I can't wait. I'm already like loving what I'm reading now. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, my handle is Alvin's Human. That's my cat. And I do show you the books I buy in Barnes & Noble and stuff like that. So hope you'll check out some of these books, especially, like I said, this one like really blew me away, and Red, White, and Royal Blue. These two like really, really did it for me last month. These were like the standouts for me. All right, so that's it, and I'll see you at the end of August, unfortunately, when I'm going to have to go back to work and go back to school. But I'll see you then. Bye.